He slams the Bible shut, then opens it again quickly. "Wait, that country doesn't even exist anymore," he says, eyes wide. He flips to the map on his phone. The names don't match. Persia, Canaan, Assyria. "What happened to them?" he asks. That question becomes the heartbeat of the video. In the first few seconds, tension is already building. Viewers are pulled in with urgency, not explanation. He leans forward and begins with Persia. "You've heard this name before," he says softly. "Powerful empire, kings, prophecies." Then he pauses. "But today, we call it Iran." The shift happened officially in 1935, when Reza Shah requested that foreign governments use the name Iran instead of Persia to emphasize national identity and indigenous heritage. "So it wasn't random," he explains. "It was about pride, about identity." He imagines a viewer reacting, "Wait, Persia is Iran?" He nods, as if responding directly. "Yes, same land, different name." He quickly adds, "If this already surprises you, hit that like button right now. It helps more people discover this history." The energy rises as he turns to Canaan. He reads the name slowly. "Canaan, the Promised Land." He explains that Canaan wasn't erased in a single year, but gradually disappeared as the Israelites settled the land around the late 2nd millennium BC. Over time, the territory became known as Israel and Judah. Later, after Roman control and suppression of revolts, the name shifted dramatically. In 135 AD, Emperor Hadrian renamed the region Syria Palaestina, following the Bar Kokhba revolt. "Why change the name?" he asks. "Because names carry power." The renaming was widely seen as an attempt to reduce Jewish identification with the land. He lets the weight of that sit. "Sometimes a name is changed to rewrite identity." He quickly moves to Assyria. "Feared, ruthless, dominant." His tone sharpens. Assyria fell in 612 BC, after being defeated by the Babylonians and Medes. Its territories were absorbed into later empires. The name faded politically as the region became part of successive powers, eventually overlapping with parts of modern Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. "Imagine being the superpower of your time," he says intensely, "and then disappearing from the map." He lowers his voice. "Empires fall. Names vanish." He looks straight ahead. "Comment below. Which fallen empire shocks you the most so far?" Without slowing down, he opens to Babylon. "Babylon," he repeats, almost whispering. Conquered in 539 BC by Cyrus the Great of Persia, it became part of the Persian Empire. Over centuries, the name lost political significance. The land eventually became part of modern Iraq, which gained independence in 1932. "Babylon didn't just fall," he says. "It was absorbed, rebranded by history." He stresses that political transitions, conquest, and colonial restructuring played major roles in how names evolved. The pace quickens again. He brings up Aram. Known in the Bible as Aram Damascus, this region eventually became associated with Syria during the Hellenistic period, after 312 BC, under Seleucid Greek influence. Greek administrative systems standardized regional names. "So Aram became Syria," he explains. "Not overnight, but through cultural and political dominance." He raises a question aloud. "How many names today are shaped by conquerors?" He briefly touches on Kush, often associated with regions south of Egypt. Over centuries, the identity of Kush blended into what later became known through Greek influence as Ethiopia. The modern Ethiopian state solidified in the late 19th century under Emperor Menelik II. "Different era," he clarifies, "but another example of how ancient names evolve." Halfway through the outline, he pauses dramatically. "Notice something," he says. "Most name changes happen for 4 reasons: conquest, political control, independence movements, or language shifts." He repeats them slowly. Conquest, control, independence, language. "History isn't random," he insists. "It's strategic." He flips again and says, "Let's talk about Judea." After the Roman destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD and the later revolt in 132 to 135 AD, Rome renamed Judea to Syria Palaestina in 135 AD. The reason was widely interpreted as political rebranding to suppress Jewish identity tied to the land. "A name can be resistance," he says quietly, "and a name can be suppression." The emotional tension peaks here, but he keeps it balanced and focused on historical context. He turns to Egypt. In Hebrew scripture, it's called Mizraim. The name Egypt comes from the Greek Aegyptos, which became dominant after Alexander the Great conquered the region in 332 BC. So even Egypt's name, he explains, is shaped by foreign language. This moment reinforces how deeply language influences geography. As the video moves toward its conclusion, he steps back from individual examples and brings everything together. Persia became Iran in 1935 for national identity. Judea became Syria Palaestina in 135 AD for political control. Assyria fell in 612 BC through conquest. Babylon lost dominance in 539 BC after invasion. Edom shifted under Greek influence after 312 BC. He lists them rapidly, building rhythm. Different eras, different rulers, same pattern. He leans closer. "The Bible didn't get it wrong," he says firmly. "The world changed." That line anchors the entire video emotionally. He imagines someone watching skeptically. "So, what does this mean for me?" He responds confidently. "It means when you read ancient names, you're stepping into ancient maps." He encourages viewers to study context. History unlocks scripture in powerful ways. As the final seconds approach, he lowers his voice for impact. "Maps change. Borders move. Empires collapse. But the record remains." He closes the Bible gently. Then comes the final call to action, clear and energetic. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe right now so you don't miss the next deep dive. Like this video to support more content like this, and comment below which biblical country you want explored next. He ends with one final question hanging in the air. Next time you read an ancient name, will you see the modern world behind it? He doesn't end there. He opens the pages again, intensity rising. "What about Edom?" he asks. The name feels ancient, almost forgotten. In biblical times, Edom was a kingdom south of the Dead Sea, descended from Esau according to scripture. But history shifted. By the 4th century BC, Edom was gradually absorbed by the Nabateans. Later, the Romans reorganized the territory into Arabia Petraea around 106 AD. The name Edom slowly disappeared from political language. "No dramatic announcement," he says. "No press conference. Just absorption." He pauses. How many identities have vanished quietly like that? The escalation continues as he turns to Philistia. The land of the Philistines appears repeatedly in the Old Testament. After Assyrian and Babylonian conquests between the 8th and 6th centuries BC, the Philistine city-states lost independence. Over centuries, the name evolved linguistically. By 135 AD, when Rome renamed Judea to Syria Palaestina, the term Palestina was derived from the older Philistine reference. "A name from one ancient enemy," he explains, "became the label for an entire province." His tone sharpens. History has layers, deep layers. He raises his voice slightly, leaning into urgency. "And then there's Mesopotamia." The word means land between rivers, referring to the Tigris and Euphrates. It wasn't a single nation, but a regional name used in Greek. Over time, that territory became divided into modern states, primarily Iraq, established formally in 1932 after British Mandate rule. "The land stayed," he says, "but the label changed with empires." He emphasizes again that colonial restructuring in the 20th century played a major role in reshaping biblical geography into modern political borders. The emotional rhythm builds toward reflection. He imagines a viewer asking, "So why should this matter?" He responds firmly, "Because when you read scripture without historical context, you miss the depth." He gestures as if holding two maps side by side. Ancient names tell you who ruled. Modern names tell you what survived. That contrast lands with force. He circles back to the pattern one last time, reinforcing the structure so viewers remember it. Conquest changed Assyria in 612 BC and Babylon in 539 BC. Political suppression reshaped Judea in 135 AD. Cultural and linguistic influence transformed Edom after 312 BC and Egypt after 332 BC. National identity redefined Persia in 1935. Gradual absorption erased Edom by the 4th century BC. Different centuries, he says with intensity, but the same truth. Power renames places. His voice softens near the end. The Bible preserves names exactly as they were known in their time. He lets that sink in. It's not that those countries disappeared from reality. They transitioned. They were renamed. They were redefined. He leans closer for the final emotional pull. When you read about Persia, see Iran. When you see Canaan, think of Israel and surrounding lands. When you hear Assyria or Babylon, picture regions of modern Iraq. He nods slowly. History connects the ancient world to the present. Then comes the final surge of energy. If this breakdown helped you understand biblical geography in a whole new way, don't scroll away. His tone becomes direct and compelling. Subscribe right now for more deep dives like this. Like the video so more people can discover this powerful history. And drop a comment telling me which biblical nation you want explored next. He closes with intensity and curiosity woven together. Names change. Borders move. Empires collapse. But truth leaves a trail.